Okay, what's going on, guys? Back with another video, and this time I'm doing something way out of the blue. Way out of the blue. Okay, so today I am going to read a book. Literally, read a book. Crazy, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I don't know what to do with the mic. Okay, so hopefully get good audio. I'm really counting on it. So, the book I am reading, I'm not going to do it all in one video because gotta be a lot of recording. So, what I am doing, I am going to read I Survived the Nazi Invasion, 1944. If you don't know what the I Survived series, and you probably live under a rock unless you're from a different country, but it might be super popular in other countries, but besides the point. So, as I get into the book, I have two other books, and in the comments, please comment if you want to hear those. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Chapter 1, August 10th, 1944. Lodów Forest, Eastern Poland. All across Europe, Jewish people were being haunted. Millions were already dead. But 11-year-old Max Rosen was determined to stay alive. Max thought that he and his little sister, Zena, would be safe in this forest. But now they were caught in a massive bombing attack. German planes roared through the sky, dropping 1,000-pound bombs that fell with shattering explosions. Kaboom! Enormous trees became flaming torches. Sparks showered down like burning snowflakes. Twisted metal and razor-sharp shards of wood blew up all around them. And this was only the beginning. Soon, soldiers with machine guns would stampede through the forest, hunting for people who had survived the explosions and fires. Anyone they caught would be shot on the spot. Max gripped Xana's hand as they ran for their lives. Their only hope was a nearby swamp. They could hide in the mud and slime with the snakes and the snapping turtles until the razor-sharp grass. But then came the biggest explosion of all. Kaboom! The force stripped Max away from Xana and sent him flying through the air. His body twisted and turned. His mind swirled with terror. Smack! He landed in a ditch. He lay there, dazed. Was he still alive? But then there was a thundering crack above. Max looked up just in time to see a massive flaming tree crashing down on top of him. Chapter 2. 3 days earlier, the Jewish ghetto, East Isles, Poland. Max and his 9-year-old sister Zena walked along the dark and dirty street, ignoring the rat that skittered by. They hadn't eaten since last night's watery potato soup, and they were hoping to find something for supper. They had no money and nothing left to trade, but they weren't ready to give up. Suddenly, 2 German soldiers appeared around the corner, their boots clicking sharply on the stone sidewalk. Max and Zena jumped into a gutter. Max wanted to curse these men, spit at them, chase them out of his town, but he stood quietly, eyes down, clenching his fist as he waited for the soldiers to pass. The men were Nazis, killer soldiers of Adolf Hitler, Germany's leader. Hitler had started a terrible war. He had sent his brutal armies to invade countries all over Europe. A year ago, Nazi soldiers marched into Estes, the Polish town where Max's family had lived for hundreds of years. The Nazis came with their tanks, their machine guns, and their hatred of Jewish people like Max and Zena. Hitler told hideous lies, blaming Jews for every problem in the world. In Essenes, Nazi soldiers destroyed Jewish-owned businesses, including Papa's Electrical Repair Shop. They set fire to this synagogue and ripped apart sacred Torah. Unfortunately, I can't turn the page. Scrolls. They attacked Jewish people on the streets, including Dr. Litham, who had taken such good care of Mama before she died. What had Dr. Litham done to deserve a beating? He had dared to look at the soldiers as he walked by them. 2 months after the invasion, the Nazis forced all Jewish people to leave their homes. They all had to move to a ghetto, this bleak neighborhood of crumbling buildings on the edge of town. The ghetto was surrounded by barbed wire fence and patrolled by Nazi guards and policemen. It was like living in jail. But the worst was to come. A month ago, in the middle of the night, policemen arrested Papa and dragged him away. They took dozens of other Jewish men, too. Nobody had any idea where they had been taken. But there was terrifying whispers about gunshots echoing through the hills around the town, about locked trains that took Jewish people to prison camps. Some said that this was happening all around Europe. There were rumors that hundreds of thousands of Jews had been taken away and had never been heard from again. Max didn't know what to believe. All he was that each day life seemed to get worse. He and Zena lived all alone now, in a small, dark room that stank of garbage. As life got harder and harder, Max thought of what his Aunt Hannah had said to him. Just after the invasion, she'd put her hands on Max and looked at him with her glittering green eyes. The Nazis want to take everything from us, she said in a clear and certain voice. Do not let them take away your hope. Max looked around him now at the woman limping past with tears in her eyes, at the ragged children stunting the doorways. Finding hope in the ghetto was harder than finding food. Just then, Zena grabbed his arm. Max, look, she said, pointing at a little bird perched on the barbed wire fence at the end of the alley. It's a robin, Zena said. Don't you know that robins are lucky birds? Max arched an eyebrow at his sister. After all that had happened to them, did she really believe that there is such thing as a lucky bird? But then he glimpsed something else. Just behind the bird, a raspberry bush covered with bright red berries. Max started imagining the sweet fruit bursting in his mouth. Zena saw them too. He and Zena rushed to the fence and dropped to their knees. They carefully stuck their arms between the wires, avoiding the razor-sharp barbs. They stretched their fingers, but couldn't reach a single berry. The bush was just a few inches too far. Max looked around. He could see no guards watching this area, and there was just enough space under the fence for Max to squeeze through. But it was dangerous. Anyone caught trying to leave the ghetto was arrested or worse. But Max wasn't trying to escape. He would be outside the fence for just a minute or so. I'll be quick, he said to Zena. No, she said. Her blue eyes seemed to grab a hold of him. With her blonde curls and round cheeks, people always said Zena looked like a doll. Sure, a doll, made of steel. She was almost 2 years younger than Max, and she trusted more than anyone else. But he trusted her more than anyone else in the world. I'll get some for us to eat now, he said, but I'll get extra so we can trade for more potatoes. Zena thought for a moment, licking her lips as she eyed the berries. She gave Max a grudging nod. Before she could change her mind, Max was on his stomach, slithering through under the fence. He picked a handful of berries, tossing one to Zena. She caught it and popped it into her mouth, breaking out into the biggest smile he'd seen in weeks. But then her face crumbled. The robin flew away. Max turned just in time to see a Nazi soldier looming over him. Without a word, the man swung his rifle and smacked Max in the side of the head. Okay, so I will end here. We are on chapter 3. So tell me if you like this, and I will continue doing it. Later.